Have you ever met someone who didn't feel new but felt familiar? Like your soul recognized them before your mind could explain why. You didn't plan it. You didn't chase it. It just happened. And even when life tried to pull you apart, distance, timing, misunderstandings, ego, something kept drawing you back to the same person over and over again. Psychology calls this coincidence, but deep connection has patterns psychology can't ignore. Because when two people are truly meant to be, certain things always happen, not perfectly, not magically, but inevitably. Not because love is easy, but because the bond refuses to disappear. Tonight I want to show you the 7 things that always appear when two people are meant for each other, even if they don't end up together right away. And once you hear the first one, you'll understand why. Some connections never really end. Let's begin. You meet at a time that changes you. People who are meant to be rarely meet when life is calm. They meet during transitions. One of you is healing. One of you is becoming. One of you is questioning everything you thought you knew about love. And that timing is not accidental. Psychology tells us that the deepest bonds form when two people enter each other's lives during moments of identity shift. You weren't who you used to be, but you weren't fully who you were becoming either. And then they appeared. They didn't just enter your life. They interrupted it. They made you think differently, feel deeper, question old patterns, see yourself more clearly. Even if the relationship didn't last, the impact did. You grew because of them. You healed because of them. Or you finally realized what you deserve because of them. That's how you know the meeting mattered. People who aren't meant to be pass through your life quietly. People who are meant to be arrive during storms and leave you changed forever. No matter how far you drift, you always find your way back. When two people are meant to be, distance doesn't erase the bond, it only tests it. You may stop talking, life may pull you in opposite directions, time may pass, months, even years, yet somehow the connection refuses to disappear. You think you've moved on, you convince yourself you're done, you build a new routine, a new life, maybe even a new relationship, and then something happens. A song, a memory, a moment of silence, and suddenly they're back in your thoughts, as if time never touched them. Psychology explains this through emotional imprinting. When a person leaves a mark on your nervous system, that doesn't fade with absence. It's not obsession, it's recognition. You don't think of them constantly, but when you do, it feels deeper than nostalgia. And eventually, paths cross again. Maybe through a message, a coincidence, a mutual friend, or a moment neither of you planned. Not because you were chasing, but because something unresolved was still pulling you toward each other. People who aren't meant to be fade with time. People who are meant to be return, not out of loneliness, but because the connection was never finished. Being with them feels like emotional rest. When two people are meant to be, love doesn't feel chaotic. It feels calm. Not boring, not dull, but steady, like exhaling after holding your breath for too long. Even in silence, there's comfort. You don't feel the need to perform, impress, or protect yourself. You can sit with them and feel more like yourself than anywhere else. Psychology calls this emotional attunement. When two nervous systems naturally regulate each other, you feel safer around them. Your thoughts slow down, your body relaxes, your guard lowers. And this is how you know the connection is real, because intensity can come from trauma, but peace comes from compatibility. Even during conflict, you don't feel afraid of losing them. You feel understood, even when you disagree. They don't drain you. They don't confuse you. They don't make you feel small. They feel like home. And here's the quiet truth. People who aren't meant to be leave you anxious. People who are meant to be leave you calmer than you were before. That kind of peace isn't learned. It's recognized. You trigger growth in each other, not fear. When two people are meant to be, they don't keep each other comfortable. They keep each other honest. Not in a harsh way, in a way that gently exposes what needs healing. Being with them challenges you, not because they criticize you, but because their presence makes your old patterns impossible to ignore. You start noticing things about yourself, how you communicate, how you avoid, how you love. And instead of feeling attacked, you feel invited to grow. Psychology explains this as secure mirroring. When someone reflects your behavior without shaming you for it, you don't feel smaller around them, you feel braver. They encourage your evolution. They don't fear your growth. They celebrate it. And you do the same for them. Yes, it can feel uncomfortable at times. Growth always is. But it never feels unsafe. Because fear-based relationships make you hide. Meant-to-be connections make you expand. You become better together, not perfect, but more aware, more grounded, more emotionally mature. And that kind of mutual growth doesn't happen by accident. Your values align, even when your personalities don't. When two people are meant to be, they don't match in obvious ways. You might be different in habits, energy levels, or communication styles. But underneath all of that, something deeper aligns. Your values. How you view loyalty, how you treat people when no one is watching, how you handle pain, honesty, and responsibility, how you love when things get difficult. Psychology tells us that long-term emotional compatibility is built on shared core values, not shared hobbies. You may argue about small things, you may approach life differently, but when it truly matters, you stand on the same moral ground. You both believe in effort, you both believe in growth, you both believe that love is something you protect, not something you gamble with. That's why, even during conflict, there's respect. Even during distance, there's care. Even during uncertainty, there's trust. People who aren't meant to be agree on surface things, but clash at the core. People who are meant to be may clash on the surface, but align where it counts most. And that alignment creates a bond that survives storms. When two people are meant to be, it doesn't mean life makes it easy for them. It means life keeps reminding them of what they share. The connection doesn't fade with distance. It doesn't disappear with time. It doesn't break under pressure. It evolves. Sometimes it comes as love, sometimes as lessons, sometimes as timing that feels painfully wrong, before it finally feels right. But one thing is always true: the bond leaves a mark. You don't forget how safe you felt. You don't forget how deeply you were seen. You don't forget the version of yourself that only existed when they were around. And even if paths separate for a while, something inside you knows this connection wasn't random, because meant to be love doesn't shout, it stays. It shows up in growth, in emotional peace, in values that align, even when personalities clash. And if you're watching this, thinking about someone specific, that's not a coincidence either. Some connections arrive to stay forever. Others arrive to change you forever. Both are meaningful. Both are rare. And both deserve to be understood. If this video resonated with you, like, subscribe, and make sure to comment. Thank you.